Namaskara. As we come to another day in the Navaratri, today is the sixth day of the Sharan Navaratri, and today is dedicated to Katyayini Devi. Katyayini Devi is one of the most strongest forms of God, and it is said that she is somebody who came from the angers of all the other demigods. You know, anger gets classified as good and bad. When we channelize anger towards the bad forces, then is the form of Katyayini that is created even amongst us. So that for me is the significance of Katyayini. Today, the queen who reflects this quality of Katyayini to us was none other than Naiki Devi. The way she decided to channelize her anger, her strategy, and destroy. Over to you, Tilottama, to understand more about Naiki Devi.
Thanks, Shama. Yeah, I think Nike Devi is somebody who, again, we never read about in our history textbooks, unsurprisingly. But there is, I think, a movie on her made about 3 years ago or so. I haven't watched the movie, but in the course of my research, I discovered there was. So I'm going to look for it now. Now, Nike Devi was, so we're talking about the late 12th century. So this is 1173 approximately. Nike Devi was the queen of the Chalukyas, and she was supposed to have been a Tuluva queen. So she's either from Goa or further down the coast. Incidentally, the queen we talked about on day 3, Abbaka Chauta, is supposed to have been originally from Gujarat. I mean, her people. So Nike Devi's people were originally from further down the coast. So all these queens, powerful women, the culture is obviously there throughout. Um, so Nike Devi was queen of in this area in Gujarat, and that part of India, the land, the part that was is currently bordering Pakistan. Um, they've had this unfortunate thing of a whole bunch of random looters and invaders from West Asia would keep coming in whenever they felt like they needed a little bit of money. So, in fact, there are stories of some of these people who would just come, loot, go, and then their people wouldn't have to pay taxes for a number of years. I mean, that's the kind of riches that they would just come and get and go. So it was basically like, hyenas kind of thing. Just come, get whatever you can, and go. So one of these people was, I'm sure we've all suffered through having to read about them in history, which was Muhammad Ghori. So he is from some place. Yeah, so he was from that place, so he's called Ghori. So now this guy came in. At that point, he was relatively young. So he decided that he would try and attack Gujarat. Now, the reason he decided that he will try and attack Gujarat is because the queen, Nike Devi, is supposed to have recently given birth. And usually, when you give birth, for about 3 months, there is, because India is a hot, humid, tropical place full of infections. So basically, for 3 months, the mother and baby stay very separate from everybody else. So there's a quarantine kind of thing. So this guy figured, okay, the queen is indisposed. This is a great time to attack. So he comes in with a very powerful army. I must have got a lot of investors, got a lot of people to join in, promised them many riches. So he comes, he has taken some parts of Pakistan, which were, I mean, of course, at that point, it wasn't Pakistan, it was also part of India. But these are the parts that typically he would always give up against the invaders. As they still continue to do. But anyway, he got those areas and then came into Gujarat. So Nike Devi essentially is supposed to have picked up this little infant who was like a month old or so, strapped it to the front, strapped it, to her lap, or whatever, to her stomach in front, gotten on her horse, and led her troops into battle against these people. Now, she was hugely outnumbered by this fellow's forces. But she asked for help from some of the neighboring kingdoms. It is not very clear whether they offered help or they didn't offer help. But whatever it may be, she somehow managed to get Muhammad Ghori to send his troops, uh, she managed to direct his troops into this place with a lot of ravines, which is between Mount Abu and the Aravalli Hills. So this guy comes, her army is waiting at the end of this ravine, I mean, around in this ravine area. So his army comes in, and being a queen from the, Goa, north coastal Karnataka side of things, she knew how to use elephants. So the cool story about Nike Devi is that she basically, so Muhammad Ghori's army comes down this ravine, and she waits for until they come to a sufficiently narrow place with, high walls, and then she lets go of she sends out the war elephants. So it's basically like, the story is that Gori, he somehow had some vantage point. Maybe he was not, I mean, typical of these people, as we have seen with various wars, their commanders normally are not at the forefront. They'll be somewhere in the back. So he managed to escape along with one or two of his bodyguards, but that was it. Every single other soldier was finished. And this fellow also managed to get back with great difficulty. He was injured, etc., etc. Because, of course, the rest of her army was, I mean, it wasn't only the war elephants, right? So after the war elephants created the confusion and etc., there were people with, there were archers, there were various other people to pick them off. So he was also wounded, but he somehow managed to get back with great difficulty. And it was so bad that for another 14 years, he did not try to come anywhere near India. And when he did come to India, he went through the Punjab route. And Punjab is not Indian Punjab. It is the worst part of Punjab, which is on the other side. So that's the route he used to come in. Um, so this is the story of, I mean, again, one more awesome person. And like you said, Katyayini is the killer. And that is really what she did, because she just sort of figured out strategy, figured out what her strengths were, figured out where she gets maximum leverage, and then just went for the kill. Like, no survivors, pretty much. I mean, unfortunately, this man survived, but no other survivors. What is interesting is that when one is researching the story, and this time I did look at Wikipedia a little bit, it's incredible. They managed to talk about this battle without even, I mean, there's one little mention. So it says main commander Nike Devi, and then the rest of the text, she's not even there. And this is so typical of the way the colonialists would portray women, and that a tradition that Wikipedia continues, and the way that we are taught our own history. That something so cool. I mean, ideally, if Nike Devi had been a British queen, okay, maybe not British queen, if she'd been a British king, there would have been 10, I don't know, at least 100 movies on her by now. And yet, we with great difficulty seem to have managed one movie. We definitely didn't know about her in our history textbooks, and it's just incredible that this can happen. Anyway, back to you, Shama.
Just to hear her story, and just this one incident is so inspiring. Viewers, again, I repeat it every time, we are not historians. We are not doing any great research for years or days together in order to collect this information. We are just spending about, an hour or hour and a half. That's all. I mean, we are only touching the tip of the bubble. The reason that we are doing this is so that we will be able to generate interest in you. Those of you who are really interested, if you can go down, look into these. And these are women, these are queens whose stories, or the history of whose would not have been recorded in the traditional form that we wish them to have been. But definitely in our traditional form, they would be recorded. The locals of the then Nike Devi kingdom would have had folklores about it, would have had stories about it, would have had some songs about it. There would be women who would be working in the fields who would have built those songs. In case you do have those songs, if you have more number of, let's say, incidents which are recorded from one person to another person and from another person to another person. Yes, I do understand Chinese whispers. I do understand that communication lapses will be there, but we will try and filter as much as possible, taking help of other, historians who would be able to help us. But please do leave those comments in case you do know about some such stories. Share it amongst people of that area so that we'll be able to collect more stories with this. Okay. Having said this, tomorrow is the day of Devi Kalaratri. Kalaratri, when you take the warrior to the brink and then decides, and that warrior decides to destroy, then that warrior is Kalaratri. So, with another queen tomorrow, a very interesting queen. We'll meet you again. Thank you. Thank you from Lefafa. Thank you.